Well, Chit Chat Kit Kats, I just got through watching the interview that Chris Hanson did with, Julia. She is devastated. I don't see how she functions in life. And there is still so much more to come out. She could barely get through the interview. And, yeah, devastating. Devastating. Oh, my Lord. You know, we wish all of the people well that went through this. Can't say girls, but because there were boys as well. And dealing with PTSD is not fun. I can tell you that firsthand. Because when there's a trigger, you go right back into that emotional drama, reliving it yet again. And there are so many things that can trigger you. Okay. And it takes a long time to come out of it, to be able to function. I can tell you in my life, I was triggered by anybody in a uniform. Police, you know, anybody in a uniform. And I would always have to sit with my back to see the door, to see what was around me. I had to sit against a wall. I couldn't even go to get my driver's license. Dealing with anybody in any kind of an authority thing was a trigger. Going to the VA, to the hospital, was a trigger. And when you keep getting thrown back into that emotional drama, I couldn't even speak about things for a long time. I know what she's going through. You can't even, you know, going in for an interview, they couldn't even interview me. They were afraid I would go into a psychosis because it was so triggering. Yeah. So I understand, you know, what they're going through. That is, it's not an easy thing to come out of. It's just not. And when you're in that, still that emotional thing and everything is triggering, we go through really deep depressions, and then just, you know, like you could see, she could barely talk. She couldn't talk about parts of it. Okay? She's in a very bad place. So I really feel for everybody that's lived through that type of trauma and is trying to still deal with it years and years and years later. And like I said, it takes a lot of introspection, and it takes a lot of yeah, I just have to say introspection and things. Meditation, introspection to be able to come out and function and all of that. So yeah, I wish them the best. In my case, it was my spiritual path that, brought me through everything. But again, when I started out, I was a mess. Severely depressed, could not function, yeah. It was a mess. I used to get a lot of piercings done because the physical pain was easier to deal with than the emotional drama and pain. Finally, one day, I woke up to that fact and said, well, that's pretty stupid because it's not solving anything. The things we do. But when I finally woke up to that fact, what I was doing, creating the physical pain because that was easier to deal with than the emotion, that kind of shut down some of the emotion for a time. Yeah. And then it came to the point of seeing, well, these things happen, but by reliving that trauma all the time, I was, at this point, abusing myself. Came to that fact. Yes, those things happen, but that time is over and done with. And to continue to go into that, I'm abusing myself. So, it took a lot of steps. It took a lot of steps, and you have to see it yourself in order to change it. Somebody else can't tell you that. You have to see it. And in order to see it, you have to really sit with these things and go to the core of it to be able to come through and make changes. Okay. But that was some of the first ones. And like I said, the depression, you can't even move sometimes. Depression's like, you can't move, you can't, yeah. So it's a long process. This is not something you're going to wake up and have that insight and immediately, it changes. It's something that, again, you have to do a lot of meditation, a lot of introspection. You really have to get to the core of it and see it, and then it can shift, it can change. But yeah, you see, by going through all these flashbacks and everything, that you are, at that point, injuring yourself. So when those things start to trigger, you have to see, in this moment, I'm fine. The only thing that's happening, whatever you're doing concretely at the moment, in this moment, I'm fine. And get yourself out of that cycle. So again, it takes time to process and be able to really see it and really be able to move through it. It can be done, but again, it takes time. It takes time. And it's something you really have to be dedicated to working through. Yeah. But watching her interview was tough because she's really on the edge. Okay, really on the edge. And I wish her the best, but you've got to quit telling yourself that storyline over and over and over again, because you're just ingraining it. That's another thing. Some people want to go to to counseling, and they tell them, oh, you're right to feel that way, and and it doesn't help. It just ingrains it rather than making it better. It just entrenches it. So I see a lot of these counseling type things need to change, because again, the way they go about it is just entrenching things rather than finding doorways to go through and make it better. Yeah. So on that note, I'll leave that here, and we'll see you online.